The anime begins with a mysterious woman escorting a young man through a hallway. When he arrives, she shows him a room full of naked women and asks him to choose some to reproduce with them. Thunderstruck in the past, we see the same young man named Raito confess his feelings to Alyssa, his childhood friend. They have studied together since elementary school and are now in their last year of college. She asks him why he is telling her this after so many years, and Raito replies that he was diagnosed with a rare disease called cellular sclerosis that would end his life in just 1 year. He also mentions that to avoid this, he decided to cryogenic self until doctors can find a cure. He knows that a friend of his named Mita has also confessed his love for her and tells her that he would not allow her to wait for him for 5 years. Alyssa leaves Rita without a word and leaves in tears. Raito travels with his brothers Ru and Mahuro to the medical area where he will be cryopreserved, and they asked him how it went with Alyssa, but he answers that they only had an argument and nothing more. Once in the medical area, Dr. Takagi tells Raito that he will be safe while he is frozen and encourages him to continue contributing to the world of medicine when he wakes up, as the 3 siblings say an emotional goodbye. Alyssa asks a nurse to please let her in, but the nurse refuses as only the family can accompany the patient to the cryogenic chamber. Ru comes out to ask the nurse to let Alyssa pass, saying that she is family. Before entering the chamber, Raito hands his necklace to Alyssa for her to care for him until he wakes up already in the chamber and almost unconscious. Raito notices that Alyssa is screaming that she will wait for him forever. When he wakes up, he mistakes Alyssa for a woman named Mirasuo. Minutes later, he undergoes some medical tests and is told that he has been cured of his strange illness. He asks permission to go talk to Dr. Takagi and thank him for everything, but has notified that he is no longer there. Sue arrives at that moment and invites Raito to accompany her to answer all his questions. Raito accompanies Sue in a limousine with 2 other women who look flushed by his presence. She explains to him that the world population was reduced by half 4 years ago. Unbelieving this, Raito runs out into the streets and notices that he hasn't seen a single man since he woke up. Sue explains to him that the MK virus only attacks men and that he is immune thanks to cellular sclerosis and his treatment. In fact, he is one of only 5 men in the whole world who are still alive. A woman desperately runs toward him to harass him, but is intercepted by one of the guards. Sue begs him to try to reproduce with as many women as he can. Sue shows a report of the current situation to Raito, and he understands that what she tells him is true and that a group of women called UN rules the world. Sue again insists that Redo begin his work to repopulate the earth, and Raito refuses, his little sister. Maru, who is not so little anymore, comes to see her brother after all this time and explains that Ru has been frozen to survive the virus. She also tells him that Alyssa mysteriously disappeared 3 years ago and she was unable to contact her. One of the UW's top brass exhorts Sue for failing to get Raito to do his bidding, so she tries to seduce him in his room, but he asks her to stop. The next day she explains that they only have a year to save the rest of the cryogenic men, and Raito asks her to let him find Alyssa to have children with her. Sue agrees, but on the condition that she will send girls every night until they find Alyssa. We meet Kyoji Hino, another of the 5 men immune to the male killer virus. He enjoys being treated that way by women and being able to choose who he wants to sow his seed. Raito, Maharu and Sue have lunch together. They both notice that Sue eats a lot and wonder how she can stay so thin. Raito and Hino meet in the hallway and Hino is happy to see another man. She encourages him to enjoy this moment by saying that there is no better way to save the world than to be with as many women as he wants. Just as Raito was finishing his bath, there is a blackout and he tries to open the door to get out, but is intercepted by a red-haired woman who makes him blush so much that he ends up fainting. He wakes up in his room with a girl named Sui who introduces herself as his bodyguard, and the red-haired woman who caught him in the bathroom introduces herself as Chain, his nurse. The next day, the women accompany Raito to investigate the hospital where Alyssa used to work. A bear comes out of nowhere and tries to attack the group, but Sui changed his personality and defeats it in one blow. Raito searches Alyssa's lab for clues and discovers that she was working on a cure for the MK virus before she disappeared. He tells Sue that even if she managed to conceive 100 babies in a year, it wouldn't be enough to save the world. She supports him and helps him get his message on TV. His broadcast goes viral all over the world, being seen even by Alyssa, who is hiding in an unknown location. After finishing his message, Raito returned to Alyssa's lab and meets Maru, who is angry that he may have gotten into trouble with that transmission. Going through Alyssa's things, they find her smart bracelet inside a teddy bear. Alyssa left a message there. Raito: "The virus is not natural. It was made by humans." But women of the UW group see that Raito is dangerous and decide to keep a close eye on him. They begin preparations to awaken the third man. A flashback sets the story 5 years earlier. A young boy named Shota was bullied by a group of bullies and is ignored by the entire school. In his piano class, his teacher treats him kindly and worries about his health. When he mentions that his whole body hurts, she asks him to go to the hospital if his pains do not subside. The doctor diagnoses Shota with cellular sclerosis and asks him to call his parents. His teacher tries to get everyone to emotionally dismiss Shota before he is cryogenically frozen, but no one pays attention to him. He says goodbye to his teacher by thanking her. No one accompanies him on the day he enters the cryogenic chamber, and before he becomes unconscious he wishes that everything will be better for him when he wakes up. Taran Kami is the one who greets him when he comes out of the cryogenic chamber and explains to him everything that has happened in the last few years. He resumes his life at his old school but feels that everything is different now that he is the only man and receives excessive attention from all the women. He meets her teacher Yuzuki again, who invites her to his house in the evening. When he arrives, she seduces him and they do things that can't be seen on YouTube. The next day he feels that all the girls fight for his attention and try to be near him at all times. In order to be alone for a while, he goes to play the piano in the music room. Yuzuki finds him and seduces him again by asking him about what he felt the night before. Since their first time together, Shota did not stop having fun with his teacher throughout the week. Karen forces him to join the gym class with her classmates, and Shota once again feels that everyone is watching him. Shota talks to Yuzuki and she tells him that they will not be able to see each other that day. At that moment, Natsu, one of his classmates, falls to sleep at his house, and Karen calls him at that moment to reveal that the evening was a tournament to choose who would spend a week with him. She also mentions that he will have a new roommate every week. Shota talks to Yuzuki again and asks to go to her house, but she again tells him that she won't be able to and reminds him that she can't be the only woman to be with him at night. He and Natsuru snooze snoo. While Shota started his days with snooze snoo, Raito spent all his days trying to discover a cure for the MK virus and becomes quite popular in the media. Sue warns him that Mahiru may be in danger if people find out that she is his sister. While out for a while, Raito Matino and Hino reveals to him that he is going to be a dead, which makes both of them very happy. Shota meets his teacher Yuzuki in the music room and apologizes for what happened with Natsu, but she tearfully replies that he belongs to all women equally. Karen takes Shouty to the classroom and reveals to him that the whole school and all the women there want to reproduce with him. Somewhere the woman who controls the UW fire Sue is Raito's assistant, since Raito has not been with any woman, while taking a break from work. Raito receives a call from Sue and she informs him that she will no longer be his assistant. To UW women introduce Rei Katajiri, his new assistant, and also inform him that virologist Maria Kuroda will assist him in his research. The group goes to Cayman City, the place where the virus started to spread. There they meet Taniguchi, the widow of the first man to be infected with the virus. Raito is very nice to her and tries to ask her some questions, but the woman does not cooperate with him and teases him for not having snoo with anyone. This woman is an ally of Alyssa and maintains contact with her, but keeps this a secret. An American woman named Chloe bursts into the same sauna as Raito. He tries to leave, but she threatens to scream if he does. She invites him to play who can stand the heat the longest but passes out after a while. Raito immediately pulls her out and tries to give her water, but she manipulates him into giving it to her with his mouth. At that precise moment, the rest of the group arrives and they get angry because they think Raito will have snoo with her. Sue convinces Taniguchi of how honorable and trustworthy Raito is, so she decides to give him valuable information about the virus. Someone enters Taniguchi's room in the middle of the night and contaminates her serum. The next morning, they find her in a coma. A nurse hands Raito a photo of her and her husband and tells him that Taniguchi wanted them to give it to him if anything were to happen to her. Raito go to the hospital where Taniguchi's husband was hospitalized, since that is where the pandemic started, but they find no clues. Akane confronts Ria, asking if she was the one who poisoned Taguchi, but Ria replies that she had nothing to do with it. Raito scans Yamaguchi's photo with Alyssa's bracelet and obtains information on the virus, confirming that it is artificial. Ria saves a girl who is about to be abused by another and then asks her for a favor. Maria confesses to Raito that they don't let her do much research on the virus and that they constantly remove the best researchers from the project, hacking and Maria going to bathe with Raito as it is the only place where they can talk alone with him. Akane confesses that she distrusts the higher-ups and reveals that her mother is the director of internal affairs. The group discovers that all the people involved in the old hospital have been moved or disappeared and concludes that the virus was created there. At the end of the week with Natsu, a new drawing is held in the winter is Riki Yanagi, but she reminds him of Erika and is repulsed by him. Shoyuta goes to the place where he used to spend most of his time to be alone for a while. Shanka arrives and tells him that this is also the place where she goes to relax. They both start to get close.